Hey guys, welcome back to another Let's Draw. Remember this week we're having 4 drawings instead of 2 because I didn't do any last week. So today for our drawing, we are going to draw some cherry blossoms on a branch. That was another request either from my student or her mom. One of them asked me, I don't know which one it was on YouTube. So we're gonna draw some cherry blossoms. And this is a really fun one, but you definitely want to start with pencil first. There's a lot of overlapping shapes and lines. So go ahead, grab all your coloring supplies and let's get started. All right, for this drawing, we're gonna start with a pencil for our branch for our cherry blossoms. So I am going to start over here and I'm gonna just kind of a wiggly line. I want it to be bumpy and uneven, and I'll have it end over here. Now I'm going to draw the other side. I'll start bigger here. And I kind of follow the bumps that I did the first time, but it doesn't have to be exactly the same. And as I get closer to the other side, I'm gonna get closer and closer and closer until they touch. Now I'm going to add just a few extra branches. So I'm gonna start over here, kind of just put another wiggly-ish line. Start bigger at the base, and as it gets closer and closer to the end, it also gets closer and closer to the other line. And there we go. And then I'm gonna add maybe like one more. Of course, you could add tons and tons of branches, but I think I'm gonna do it this way because it'll be easier for everyone to see if I do kind of a bigger one. So every little branch I have that comes off, I just always have it go into a Y shape. So this branch has 2, this has 2. You could even add, like, if you really want, you know, extra little branches, but I wouldn't get too carried away with your branch right now because if you do a lot of cherry blossoms, you're gonna end up covering most of it anyway, so there's not really too much of a point. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna go in and we're gonna add our cherry blossoms. So you can add them all over. I'm gonna go ahead and actually just switch to a Sharpie marker so that it's easier to see, but I would still do everything in pencil first. So I'm gonna pick a spot right here, a little circle for the center. And then for those petals, there's about 5. So I'm gonna have a line that kind of curves out, and then the edge of the leaf is pretty much round, but a little bumpy. Sometimes there's like a little piece taken out, and we wanna do 5. So here's 1. And I gotta think I'm gonna do 2 on each side and then 2 down here. So the next one is gonna be behind this one a little bit. So I'll have curve there, and I'm gonna do the same on the other side actually, so I don't forget. So I'm making my 2 curves, and the end of the leaf can be just perfectly round or a little bumpy. And now I have space for 2 more petals. So I'll start with the middle, like where the 2 would be touching, and I'll do a curve that way. And the other petal's a little behind, so that way. And there we go. So there's one cherry blossom. There's the 5 petals, they're pretty close together. And then some details that you want to add on them to make them look more like an actual cherry blossom would be some little lines. I draw these quickly and lift off the paper quickly, and little circles at the end. And if you want to make them look even more detailed, I would do some little lines near the center of the petals just to add some texture. So there's one cherry blossom, and you're just gonna go around making basically a bunch of them kind of clustered together. So you'll have maybe some that are close and then a space and some more. I'm gonna show you another way you can draw one if you're looking at that and you thought that was really tricky. So let's start with the pencil on this next one. I'm gonna do my circle, and I'm gonna do 5 lines. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Those lines represent the center of my petals. So I'm gonna go ahead and trace that. So that's the center of each petal. Now they're still gonna overlap a little, but I'll start with the top one, I just usually do. So I'm gonna do a curved line kind of around it. and then, you know, just kind of like a bumpy, rounded edge. My next flower, here's the center. So I know that the edge of the petal will be pretty far behind this first one. But the other side, of course, I'm gonna draw, and then, you know, bumpy edge. And then on the bottom, when you have the two left, you just have to pick one petal to start with, and the other one's gonna be behind a little. But doing it this way does help you kind of visualize where the other edge of the petal is, because they do overlap. And then, you know, draw your straight lines with the little circles at the end, and you can actually follow the first lines you did in most cases. And now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna draw some flowers that are turned to the side. So if you're like, nah, that's good, I'm just gonna stick with that, that's fine. You can add a bunch more, have some overlap, have some be bigger, smaller. I'm gonna draw just one that is to the side so you can get an idea how to do that. I'm gonna put it right here. No, I'm gonna put it over here. So I'm gonna start with one petal that's gonna be kind of in the middle, and the rest are gonna be like the other side. So I start with a curved line like this, and then it kind of goes up and over. So this petal is actually like the back of what we're seeing on the other ones. I'm gonna draw another one that's kind of lumpy. And then I'm gonna do 3 more that come out the top. So curved line, curved edge. These 3 petals are similar to the ones we've already done. And if you're confused, don't worry, when I add the details, it'll make more sense. Okay. So now, these 3, I'm gonna draw those lines with the circles. And I could add some of those little detail lines. And I'm gonna leave these 2 empty because it's like the back of the petal. And when I add color to it, it's gonna be even more obvious that they are, that they're like different sides. So if you wanna try drawing some that are from the side to just give it some more interest, you can. And you can even add some little leaves if you want. I wouldn't go too crazy with the leaves because while they do have leaves, obviously the cherry blossoms are the more interesting part. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go around and I'm gonna make just a couple more flowers to fill up my branch, and then I'm gonna trace over my branch with Sharpie the parts that are not covered by flowers. All right, and then one more thing that's nice to add is just some quick little lines to give your branch some texture on the bark, because the cherry blossom branches usually do have a lot of texture. They're kind of like twisted and like they have like little knots in them. After you add your texture, you could color it in, but one thing I think is fun to add are some petals that are falling. So I'm gonna do kind of a curved upside down V and 2 curved lines. Actually, it kind of looks like a little heart. And these are some petals. You can also have it be a little more rounded on the back if you want. They don't have to all be the same. I think it's kind of fun because in the wind, you know, the cherry blossoms are usually kind of losing some of their petals and they're blowing away and they look really beautiful. Need one more. There. So now, of course, I would go in and erase all of those pencil lines that are still showing and add my color. And here is how I chose to color mine in. I did lots of light pinks and a few darker pinks on the edges, and the backs of the petals were also darker pink, so you can tell. And the branch is a pretty dark brown. You could even do black. And of course, I think the background being colored in looks really nice, but it's totally up to you. Just take your time and have fun. All right, guys, I hope you had fun drawing your cherry blossoms on your branch with me. Everyone's is gonna look so different, so I would love to see how yours turned out. You can send it to my email, kaylabrussdraws@gmail.com, and that's in the description for you. And I will see you guys next time for our next drawing videos. Bye!